lash out at the person and be like, oh, what about this? Or what about this religion? What about this? But the best way in anything to be an American, like you said, to be a Catholic, let your example, let them know what a Catholic looks like.
Yeah. Hello and welcome back to our 5th episode of Croak and Crow, where we talk about conventional religion in an unconventional way. I'm Spencer.
I'm Vo.
And let's just get right into it. So today the topic is, well, I'm not sure what the topic is. What is the topic?
The topic today is a concern that a viewer brought up that they're having in their life, and if we could talk about it. And it is bashing Catholicism.
Bashing Catholicism.
Well, the concern was that this viewer is a Catholic.
Okay.
And she has been subject to people talking and just being so free about talking bad about Catholics and Catholicism, and really no holds barred, even after she'll say, well, I'm Catholic. And she was upset and saying she wishes somebody would talk about this because people don't talk about it, from what she's heard. And, is it a prejudice? Is it the last? Not the last, but there's probably just a few left. Everyone knows about anti-Semitism. Everyone knows about anti-Semitism, and you can't do it, and it's very recognizable. And people would be really careful not to do that, and that's being hateful towards Jewish people. But free range for Catholics to make jokes about them, to put them down, to be hateful towards them. And she is offended by it. She's hurt by it. So I thought we could talk about it.
Talk about
why is it okay to bash Catholicism?
Okay, well, I have all the answers, as you know.
Great.
So here's the best way I can compare it and help this person out, right? So if you turn the religions into a world map, right? I would compare Catholicism to America. It is, one of the biggest, one of the most influential of any sect of religion. It's bigger than all, or maybe equal to every other form of Christianity, just in this one type of Christianity. And so I compare it to America. But the problem is when you get a church the size, same way you get America the size it is, with so many people and so many beliefs within that group, you have differing beliefs within it. And so, you get these different sections. So it becomes the easiest to bash just based on, the way people look at America. And it's like, oh, you guys do this, you guys do this, you guys do this. It's like some person who's living in Vermont is like, well, no, I don't. And
right.
It's because of its size, it's so easy to generalize. And also, because of its size, there's so many varying degrees of what it means to be Catholic. And so, same way someone might look at America and then base it on some very minute things that are happening here, like a riot or something.
Right.
Then they're categorizing that as the entirety of the thing. And as well as there are some things with Catholicism that may be a little bit too harsh, and maybe fundamentally they have things that people are against, but I don't think that equates to someone having to be ashamed of being Catholic,
right?
And or saying, well, I don't believe in this, and therefore I need to go find another church or something.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things in America right now that I don't stand by. There's laws, there's practices, there's types of thinking that I'm against that, but at the same time I'm still a proud American.
Right.
And so I think speaking to Catholics, being I feel like I'm a dual citizen when it comes to religions, but from Catholicism side, I think people need to be more proud of being Catholic, but not feeling like they are defending everything that the Catholic Church has ever said.
Right. I agree with you. Brings to mind throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Have you ever heard that?
No, it sounds awful.
Yeah. Is this saying that means, so there's things that the Catholics have done that people will pull up when they're talking bad about Catholics. They'll bring up the Crusades, of course.
Let's bring up slavery with America.
Right. And they'll bring up child molestation.
Yeah.
Okay, so what throwing the baby out with the bathwater is when when you wash a baby, you're going to throw out the bathwater because you just washed the baby in it.
Yeah.
You don't throw the baby out. So same thing, like you want to throw out the dirty water without throwing out the baby. So in being a Catholic, to bring up the Crusades and say, oh, how can you be Catholic? Well, why would you throw away the whole entire religion of being Catholic? Because some people acted in a certain way at a certain time.
Yeah.
So why do people feel that they can not be embarrassed to people in nice company, wouldn't bash Islam or
well, they do.
No, but I'm saying other people will okay, so if you're in a group of people, of course there are people who are going to bash Islam. There's anti-Semitic people. There's going to be people who bash Hinduism. But if you get educated or, an open-minded group of people or sensitive or nice people, most people will look at you and be like, you can't say that. You shouldn't say that. That's not nice. That's not appropriate. That's not true.
Yeah. That's
prejudice. That's hateful. It's a hate crime. But why if you say it about Catholics, it's like, haha, Saturday Night Live just had a joke on there about child molestation and the Catholic Church. Like, why is it a haha? And it's not frowned upon. Like that's not cool. That's that person's religion. Like Halloween. You can dress up like a nun or the Pope or a priest. There's not that. There's no. I don't know. People aren't careful about it.
Yeah. What I would have to say I think it fundamentally goes with just the church, the Catholic Church itself, and how big it got.
Mm-hmm.
It became more of a power and a government, really, than any other religion. And so that's why it's so hard to compare to any other form of Christianity or something. There was one point where the Catholic Church was stronger than the governments. The Pope was making all of the political calls. And so it sort of is teetering on this, a religion, and not home religion, to like a superpower.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the latter is what makes it able to be made fun of so much. Because, the bigger something gets, the more of an entity itself. Your local, neighborhood church, if you start bashing it, it's like you're bashing that religion.
Mm-hmm.
But the Catholic Church became such a thing on its own.
Yeah.
Religion aside, just based on politics and size, that it's an entity that's able to be made fun of. And so it's tough for people then to dial back to a personal scale, because it's not the same as another church where you are one of, all the people,
right,
and you're part of a little group. It's like, it's a little like being an American. It's so big that
it is so big. I think there is stereotypes attached to it.
Yeah.
In a way that the people don't seem like they don't need sticking up for it. They don't need,
Yeah.
You don't have to be careful. It's not an endangered species. It's like I can say what I want. But I think so for the girl who asked me about it, and It hurts her feelings. And what can she do about it? I think that takes it to a place that it is wrong for people, obviously, for any. So is it wrong to bash the Catholics? It is wrong. It's along with all the others. Yes. It is wrong to bash all of them. But it is wrong for her. Because also in the Bible, Matthew has a part, maybe that all the Gospels do, but has the part where Jesus says, like, do not ever make somebody stumble.
Yeah.
Okay? So if, say you're going along and you're Catholic, and you're in that religion and you're just living to work according to Jesus, so for somebody to try to pull the rug out from underneath you when you're going along just fine.
Yeah.
You know? And then you would start to think, wait, is this a bad religion? Like, I think that is, so I do think it's wrong, even though the Pope doesn't need protection from people at the water cooler, right? Just the individual Catholics, you just said, you feel embarrassed to be a Catholic, or you feel like you have something to defend.
Yeah.
Because that's shaking someone's faith for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough situation because, like I said, like it's hard because you get in these situations where you're defending the entire Catholic Church,
right? When,
in the same token, you are very against, all the bad. Like, find me one Catholic who will defend pedophilia in the church,
right?
They won't, and so it is unfair for someone to attack someone's faith when they believe in Catholic values,
right?
And they're like, oh, here your priests touch little boys, and it's like, you shouldn't have to defend that because that in its own right is against what you believe in as a Catholic,
right?
And so it's this tough position. It's so big that people feel like they're able to attack it, but it puts that person in a position where they shouldn't have to defend something that has nothing to do with them, or their religion. I always say, there's very few terrible religions. It's people that give religions bad names, and it's like the Quran teaches all about peace and stuff, but there's a lot of Americans who have views that it is a religion of war, it is a religion of terrorism, and it's not. Christianity with the Crusades, it's like, oh, does Christianity teach violence? And it's people that pervert the writings to, allow them to do what they want to do. And then other people from outside view the entire religion. So you can't. And it's unfair to allow for people to have that kind of power to give these religions a bad name when it's those individuals who are the ones to be held accountable for. Right.
I was going to say something, I can't remember. Did you see The Two Popes?
I have.
Do you recommend it?
I do.
The Two Popes is a movie on Netflix.
It is.
About a Catholic Pope who was supposed to have a life term.
Benedict.
Pope Benedict was supposed to have a life term, and he quit, or he got taken.
He resigned. Yeah,
he resigned.
First pope in 400 years.
And then they got the next guy in line.
P-Boy Fran.
Did you like that movie?
I did. I like Pope Francis.
Do you think people who hate Catholics would like the movie?
I think if you watch it with an open mind, you'll thoroughly enjoy it. But too frequently, I think people go into anything that they're sort of against with, their vote already in their pocket,
looking for ways to reinforce it.
Like I said, I enjoyed it thoroughly, but I'm sure if you went in being against Catholicism, you'll be able to tear it apart. But I like Pope Francis. I think he's very progressive.
He just appointed the first African American cardinal.
Really? Wait, there wasn't African American cardinals before?
I don't know.
They're the red ones, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's true. Like maybe actually from Africa.
I don't know.
Wait, African American.
Oh, African American.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I just saw it.
Yeah, and he just said people in
civil unions
are
okay between
okay.
the same sex.
And, I think that is good. I think to go on top of what we were saying about the Catholic Church, I think for too long now, they have been holding on to sort of these fundamental views without sort of adapting to the times.
Right.
And I'm not telling anyone what they should believe. But as with a power as big as the Catholic Church, at least what I like that the Pope's doing is he's opening up the conversation to then. So being for gay marriage and being a Catholic, before, like, what I think is tough and what I think is the problem why people are getting attacked is if I say I'm a Catholic, immediately, assumptions are made. So you're against gay marriage, I don't know any of those really strict Catholic rules, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so what I like about this Pope is now it's not saying that you have to be for anything.
Right.
But it's opening the conversation that I don't need to caveat, I'm a Catholic anymore.
Right, yeah.
It's sort of going to, I'm a Catholic, and that gives you my fundamental beliefs. I believe in Christ. I believe in the Trinity. All of these base things that sort of like are across the board.
Right.
But it then doesn't say I believe every single thing that the Catholic Church has believed for 1,000 years. Right. It's like it sort of sticks with that, and then it's sort of open, just like most other churches.
Mm-hmm.
Like if someone tells me that they're from this church around the corner, I don't have those assumptions because they don't have 2,000 years of this intense, like maybe even oppressive history where it's like. And you know what? Back to my country, it's just because I love making the analogy. I have gotten like heard some of these same like sort of like anti-Catholic rhetoric from smaller Christian churches, and I think if we're going to compare Catholicism to America again, that's like someone saying, "Oh, look how good Sweden does something,"
mm-hmm.
or "Look how good these small little countries where it's." I want to say it's easier.
Right.
Like you can't compare the two. Like the fact that you haven't had any, you haven't had any pedophilia in your church. You're saying there's 0% pedophilia in my church. These instances have happened in your church. Who is the better church? And it's like, it's it's not apples to apples.
Right.
Like, when you have millions of people.
Right.
There's going to be some bad people. When you have a church of 100 people, it's not saying that much. Like, show me your church at the scale of the Catholic Church, and then I'll give a fair comparison to whether or not it's a Catholic problem or if it's just a people problem. There's bad apples.
Right. Yeah, because when you think of Catholic bashing, you might think the person's not Catholic, but there's Catholics who bash the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And people who do get upset, they'll get upset with Pope Francis's new thoughts. Mm-hmm. They don't want that to change. And just for whatever reason, there's lots of reasons to hate anything. You could hate Disney. So, it's the Catholics. And I just say, you can't stop anybody, from doing anything.
Yeah. It
is wrong if someone bashes the Catholic Church. It would be wrong if they started bashing Irish people. Yeah. And you're Irish, you're going to take offense, and it's rude of the person to do it, even if the person's Irish.
Yeah.
But the golden rule is to do unto others as you would have others do unto you.
And honestly, I think that's the only thing. That's the only rule. If everyone lived like that, I think there would be zero. Name one problem that Karen or treating someone else like you want to be treated. Name one. Give me one problem in the world that wouldn't solve.
Right. Well, people would say, "I don't care." Right. So if someone was bashing, if you were Catholic and someone was bashing Catholicism, and you would say, and the person's an atheist, and you would say, how would you like if I bashed atheist? They would say, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Right? But if they're really honest, it doesn't have to be exactly religion to religion.
Yeah.
Like, how would you care? How would you like if I bashed that you have too many kids, or you're childless, or that you're a political party? Like,
and that doesn't help. That is the problem with the golden rule. That's the one flaw, and it's why what I said earlier of why there will always be problems, because the only way for the golden rule to work is for everyone to be on board.
Right.
As soon as they're not, like, that person didn't treat me the way they want to be treated. They made fun of me, and so you're immediately thinking, how would you like if I bashed you? And it's like, and that is what happens. And then it's no one wants to be stepped on, and so then you retaliate, and you come at each other, and then you get altercations.
Yeah. So the election, the U.S. presidential election will be held next week.
Yes.
And Joe Biden is a Catholic, and he's the first.
What's Donald Trump?
I don't know. He's a Christian. He used to be
Protestant.
He used to be organized Christian. He used to belong to some religion, and recently he said, I no longer belong to any particular Christian religion. I'm just a Christian. Biden's going to be the first Catholic since JFK. JFK was the first Catholic. Mm-hmm. So it's
which is wild to me.
A lot of presidents, none of them had been Catholic.
Do we live in a Catholic area, or like we've had a lot of presidents? Am I naive to how many non-Catholics Christians there are? I would assume for presidents who have all been similar stature, right?
Yeah.
So they're all like old white men.
Well, I think they were WASPs, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. That's what a WASP is. That might be an offensive term, but I don't think it is a WASP. But it's literally when you think of all the men in power.
Who's Jordan Belfort, the real Jordan Belfort? I was hearing him talk about the movie Wolf of Wall Street, and the like sort of derogatory nickname for the country club was the Wasp Nest.
Okay.
And I didn't know why, but now
that's what it is.
Makes sense.
And what it is Christians. It's a diluted. So it's Christian, but it's, don't take offense, all the Protestants, but people were more comfortable with the president being something that. So when JFK was running, mm-hmm. the reason people were encouraged not to vote for him is the same reason that this woman, they didn't want her on the Supreme Court, because Catholics, there's a stereotype that they are extremely strict.
Yeah.
And can't see legally fair beyond moral rules.
And I mean, it kind of goes with what we were saying.
Right.
Where it is, as soon as you say you're Catholic, you sort of get the stigma. And like, you get assumed of what you believe in.
Right.
It becomes more of like, this is the religion that I am. And it's not, I have my own beliefs. It's, okay, well then I can tell you what you believe on this matter, this matter, this matter. And it's like, well, it's not true.
So when JFK ran, he didn't have to, but I wasn't there. I wasn't alive. But he came out and he said that he's Catholic. Real Catholics, strict Catholics took offense because he basically said, I was born Catholic and I'm Catholic, but it's not going to affect my how I'll rule.
Yeah.
Okay. So by saying that, people were like, okay, maybe we could elect him. Other people were like, how dare you?
Yeah.
You know, I don't really see it brought up with Biden.
No.
And
I think we're past that.
And he's pro-life. He's pro-choice.
Yeah. Which,
like you just said, immediately if you hear someone's Catholic, you assume that they're going to be pro-life over pro-choice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not really coming up that he's Catholic, or that how can we dare have a Catholic president again.
Yeah, I don't know if nowadays that would still be an argument, but it definitely it's unfortunate that And you know what it is, once again, just talking about the size. The reason why everyone knows what fundamental or like what conservative Catholics think is because it's so big and everyone knows. Like,
right.
Like, this is my ignorance again, but the Lutheranism, I don't know what they believe in. Like,
right.
What's some other Methodist,
Mm-hmm.
Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
I know all the names, but I couldn't tell you which ones are pro-choice.
Yeah.
Which ones are anti-gay marriage. Which ones don't condone tattoos, drinking, gambling. I don't know.
Right.
But Catholicism is has been under such a spotlight,
right,
for thousands of years, and so therefore everyone knows when you say, because like a lot of presidents use the word WASP. Once again, I don't know if that's derogatory, but so let's just caveat it with, we're not trying to be derogatory.
Yeah,
it's not even, oh, this president is Methodist. I'm sure you could look it up and find out, but it's I'm Protestant, like basically saying like I'm Christian.
Yeah.
Don't.
It's a safe word.
Yeah, exactly. Don't dive into it too much.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to be sympathetic.
Yeah.
And I believe that I'm being held accountable by God.
Yeah.
So like I do believe there's a God.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, do satanic rituals in the White House. But on the other hand, I'm not going to like pray to a saint or something when I want to get something passed through Congress.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a good person because I believe in God and, but I'm not going to let it affect what lots of Catholics are able to do that too. But it sounds like a very strict religion. But, Jews, it's the same way. If you just,
I was going to ask about do they have multiple sects or?
Yeah, Judaism. Well, there's another show, I think on Netflix, Steisel, I think it is. So it's really, really, really conservative, Jews in New York. Yeah, that spans the horizon. You have...
Well, I know on a scale of how conservative they are.
No, but there's different types. Like
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, you would belong to...
Yeah.
There's a lot of different types of Judaism, but since we're not Jewish, we don't know what they are. It's like, this is what Jewish people are. So... you might like the way Catholics are judged, like, oh, I know that you're pro-life because you're a Catholic. That's like saying to a Jewish person, any Jewish person, I know that you don't do anything on Sundays. Oh, I think it's Saturdays. Saturdays because it's.
I know you won't eat anything that's not kosher.
Right, and then it's like, no, I do. I know you won't get a tattoo or stuff like. No.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't know about them, but
honestly, like, yeah, it's most likely because I'm not in the culture, but I think it also might be a little better that Jewish people are Jewish. Like, I think not a problem, but I think one of the issues when it comes to Christianity is like
no protection.
Oh no, is the separation and the what kind of Christian are like
right.
I think it would be better if if you're a Catholic, go to Catholic, you go to your mass like at a Catholic church on Sundays and stuff. But when you're asked, I'm a Christian, like Jewish people are Jewish, people are Islamic people are Muslim. But Christian is always, I'm a Catholic, or I'm a Methodist, like
right.
And so it sort of opens it up to pick apart each one,
right? Where
it might be better if it and I mean even on this podcast we do it. We have different places we come from. But we always try because we're open minded. We don't want to be pigeonholed into any sort of this is my belief. This is my belief. We said like, oh, we're Christian. I think I even said it before. I was like, we were talking about the name of the podcast and something about Christianity, and it was like, I don't want any. As a podcast, I'm saying what I think, so I don't want to go into it and have it be, oh well, he obviously thinks this and this because he's associating himself with this group, right? And because I think that's one of the problems is people feel like others don't have their own opinion because they base themselves in a group, and right? It doesn't work that way.
No, and we are. When you have a focus group, market research, you just want to grab some people off the street. Like, when you grab people off the street and you say, like, what's in the Constitution, like, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to know, these things.
Yeah.
So same thing, like, when we're talking, we're just the people on the street. So it's like, could we dedicate the rest of our lives to studying and respecting and then sharing what Lutherans do, what Methodists do, what Jewish people do, what Hindus do, and really knowing about, study world religions and never making a misstep or a misquote, or that's not what we do, or that's not. Yeah. Most people don't. It's too much. Like, you have a life to live. So usually you're born into a religion. You know that religion. And grow up.
I agree. And I think now, there should be a distinction. The way I see and value church is as a community.
Yeah.
Not as a set of laws, of governing laws. Mm-hmm. Like, the more, like, obviously, there could be churches that are really against, and I'm not saying every church is perfect. Every church has their problems. But I think it's more important that that's a community of people with similar, not the same, but similar views that you have.
Right.
And so you go to church, you're with people, you can, like, join some groups.
Right.
And you're learning about God. But when it comes down to it, a few people, unless they change their beliefs based on their church, mm-hmm. have exactly the same amount of views as the church. Like, the only exception would be if you take it, whatever they say is law, and it's like, okay, well, I agree with it. If not, then you have your own beliefs, and what you should use that church for is a sense of spiritual and religious community of similar views.
Right.
But it's up to you to then, when you're at home by yourself, you have your own set of morals and laws that you go by.
Right. And there's nothing wrong to say that you're Catholic. You don't get tested. You don't get you don't have to renew, like, your driver's license.
Yeah.
You don't go back in and do you agree? I remember my friend, she had left England. What happened? I forget, but she had to be she had to get her. Maybe she was born out of England, but her parents were English. Yeah, she might have been born somewhere. I don't know. But anyway, like, they literally came to her house and she had to answer questions and to say, will you, do you pledge your citizenship to the Queen? Like, all this kind of stuff. And she had to really, like, say to be a British citizen. Yeah, so they don't do that. Like,
well, I mean, the Catholic Church is pretty hard to get into, isn't it? I was at Mass one time and there was people, like, doing, like, an intro. Like, it was like their 7th. It was like a month process.
No, it's not hard to be a Catholic. First of all, I was saying if you were already a Catholic, you don't have to keep your license up every year.
Yeah.
Right? So some people even call it a lapsed Catholic, where, like, I was Catholic, but I haven't gone in years. You just consider it still a Catholic. Mm-hmm. But no, is it hard to become a Catholic? No, it's not hard to become a Catholic. If you're an adult and you want to become a Catholic, you just study. And when I say study, same thing, like, if you want to take your citizenship test for the United States, you do get to study. You went to catechism classes, and that's CCD.
Oh.
Yeah. Religious ed.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, take you for example. So you were baptized. You had nothing to say about that because I took you to the church and I said, I want this baby to be Catholic, and you had nothing to say about it. But when you got older, then you did penance. So the next thing for...
When I got older, this is about 7.
No, they think 6 is the age of reason. So once you start...
you can move out.
Making decisions at 6, then you would know. Like, and that's when you want to start teaching the child, like, if you're under 6, is it a lie when they tell you they didn't have the cookie? But at 6, it's like, all right, don't steal your classmate's lunch, Yeah. So then they want you to learn about penance. And penance is confession. Penance is saying, oops, that's something I did and I know I shouldn't have done, and I'm sorry that I did it. And so that's actually that is based in the Bible, of Jesus saying to funny, you were telling me about the Quran, and you were saying how it talked about solving when people are mad at each other, or you did something wrong, like ask one or tell. I think maybe it was with the wife, but it was like there were steps to it, like ask the person not to do it, then bring someone else in, like y'all shouldn't do it. It was the same thing in the Christian New Testament. Jesus talks about if you have a problem with somebody, just talk to the person, like try to figure it out. If they don't want to, bring someone else in. Try to convince them. It's like penance, confession. Anyway, for you to do penance, you went to religious ed and you learned basics of what the Catholics think about doing things that aren't great for your spirituality, prayers that can help you get stronger, actually saying your prayer, saying what you've done that you regret out loud, and then feeling absolved from it, so you don't have to carry it around with you anymore. Okay, and then you do communion, which is when you just remembered the Last Supper. And you eat bread. When you're an adult, it's the same exact thing. So you went to
so that makes sense.
Yeah, you went to religious ed as a child. Adults sign up for adult religious ed,
and they have to still do the steps that any child has to do.
Any child, and you just there's no background check. Like it's not like we only have the best. You could be,
and it's not even you failed. It's like
no.
Once you it's just sort of going through the steps.
Yeah, right, exactly. So no, you can become a Catholic. I forgot why we started talking about that. But you said it wasn't easy, but it is easy. But I've been to they're all easy. I mean, no. Okay, I don't know what it's like to be another. No, meaning I have been to other churches, to Christian churches, and basically it's easy breezy, especially these new churches where it's like there's a rock and roll band and there's, you can just show up and listen. Also in the Bible is whenever two or three are gathered in my name,
it's a party.
I'm there. So
3 is a party.
You don't need, like you said about community. It's just about community.
Yeah, and that's the name of the game. Like that's sort of what I think what the purpose of church should be. So if someone shouldn't be judged if in their town, they have these Christian beliefs in their town. There's this church, a bunch of other, people who have similar-minded, religious, goal-oriented people, and they go to that church. It doesn't mean that they're solely aligned with everything the church believes in. Because at the end of the day, like if you,
or maybe that's what I was saying, that you're not gonna I know that I'm even afraid to say it, that the Scientology, is that. Yeah, not Christian Scientists, but Scientology. Yeah, like Scientology, if one of the members says something against Scientology, they'll come to your house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and be like, so I heard the Liam Remini specials.
They also have to pay to get different.
Yeah, but with Catholicism, what I'm saying, there's no you've been kicked out, stuff like this.
So now, just to reel it back in to this person's. What do you do when someone is talking about the Catholic Church in a maybe defendable way? Maybe they say I don't like the Catholic Church because they don't like me. So how do you what would you even say to that? Because they feel just, and back to your why does someone bash something? What if they feel justified from a church that has some points of view that some people might feel marginalized by?
Okay, so the question is, what if the Catholic Church, what if a person says, oh, I don't like those Catholics, and then you say, oh, I'm Catholic, well, what's your problem with it? And then I'm going to say, well, I had an abortion, and so they hate me, and I can't be in a religion where they're making me feel like a murderer when I don't feel like a murderer. Well, it actually happened to this girl who asked me about what should I do when people bash Catholics. She literally took a friend of hers to Catholic church, a mass, a service, and the priest that day decided to talk about, I think in vitro fertilization.
Okay.
And the girl was conceived that way. but he was saying it like
baby. Oh,
it was a bad thing.
It's like unnatural.
Unnatural thing. And so here, you know, you bring this person and then the person's getting bashed. And then, so I think what she said was, that I've never heard anybody say that before. He's just one man who with one opinion, you know, I don't know. You just try to tell the person that you'll get that like you could go to Harvard and just get one professor who says things that you're like, I mean, I think you'd have to use unless you felt super attacked everywhere you went in the religion, of course you would hate it.
Yeah. I mean, I used it in the beginning of the podcast. I'll use it at the end. I always just bring it back to compare it to America. Mm-hmm. You know, if you have a liberal friend come over from France and you take him, you know, to middle of America, a really conservative place. Yeah. You like the entire it'll be the governor, the mayor, you know, everyone around will have these beliefs that in that little bubble what you think is the entirety of the place.
That's true. That happens a lot with America.
It does.
People visit one place of America. Yeah. And then they go back and they say, this is what happens in America. And it's like, that's not what happens in America at all.
No. You know? If you go to, you know, like Vermont or Alabama, you're in two different countries. Like just on normal everyday things. I'm not saying one's right or one's wrong.
Right.
But very different. And
yeah. I've seen this woman on TikTok, and she writes things that are different in the UK than America. And because she knows somebody in America, so she'll say like, oh, I can't believe in America they don't have grocery delivery that comes to the house. Oh. And I get grocery delivery to the house, and I live in America, and a lot of people in the comments. So everything she would say, mostly, because she would say, I can't believe you don't have this candy. I can't believe you. Yeah. And we do have
a different part of the country.
I don't know who she knew in America, but it was like, that was true for that town. So yeah, it's the same thing with Catholics.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, that's really all you can say to that girl is Catholicism is very big, and therefore it will be attacked. Like there's no like I said earlier, it would be great if everyone had the golden rule, but you being a part of a religion, it's a personal thing. So if you enjoy the sense of community, you know, if you're getting something positive out of it, then you should be proud of it, and you also should be proud. You also should be happy to have your own views without feeling like even yourself questioning, am I a real Catholic?
Right.
It's like you need to have this. You need to understand that you can be a part of something and have your own views, and it's all still A1.
Yeah, you can because you want to be like Jesus and you turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
Turn it 7 times 77 times. You know, you want to lash out at them. You know, I used to follow an ex-Buddhist monk on YouTube who he uncovered huge child molestation happening because in wherever that is, Thailand or whatever, the little children there, the little boys are given to the seminary and raised. So it's there's no babysitting. Yeah. You know, and he was trying to say like it's not as good as you. This is the orange. You know.
Yeah.
So anyway, you could lash out at the person and be like, "Oh, what about this? Or what about this religion? What about this?" But the best way in anything to be an American, like you said, to be a Catholic, let your example, let them know what a Catholic looks like.
Yeah. So be proud of what you do, but also be proud of your own beliefs and live your life. Yeah, not worrying too much about what someone is assuming.
Yeah.
Prove what you believe by being proud of what you believe.
Yeah. So I think the best thing, you can't change people's minds. We can see that with the political election coming up.
Yeah.
You can't change people's minds. So it's a waste of breath, I think, to try to turn someone who hates Catholics into someone who loves Catholics.
Yeah.
Well, I think you can like stand up though and say you're hurting, like you're being disrespectful to me. Yeah.
Well, I think sort of my takeaway that I'll give to this is, yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, you say, because are we timed? So
yeah, we'll finish it up on this.
Yeah.
you are correct that people may be coming at you, and they always will. You know, when people have beliefs, they're not going to change them. If you get anything from this, it's that it's for yourself. So no matter what someone says, you should be confident and proud of what you believe and what you practice. Because who practices something that they don't truly believe is what they should be doing? So, you know, let the haters hate. Keep being great. You know. I couldn't think of another rhyme. But yeah, just live your life the best way possible. Get out from it. Get out from any church what is beneficial to you. Doesn't matter what one. As long as they're not hurting anybody, then you're fine.
Yeah.
Go vote.
Definitely go vote.
Go vote November 4th.
Yes.
All right. Thank you all for coming. We'll be back tomorrow with hopefully an easier topic. That drained me mentally.
Did it?
Kind of. It was just like, it's tough. All right.
All right.
See ya.